address a situation here that's pretty alarming. Now, of course, everybody heard about this. I don't forget his full name, Eastman, the kid who got abducted. And YouTubers are taking advantage of this just for you know, and they're doing clickbait too. And I'm going to mention one, but I'm not going to mention the guy's channel. You probably never heard of him. He's a big fat white guy, and he's over there on camera chewing some fucking food, some nuts or something on camera. And his entitlement is that, oh yeah, that Eastman's body was found. That, my friends, is called clickbait. Clickbait. To get viewers. Then later on is, and by the way, photos that's been passed around, there has been a body found. Yes, there was a body found, but the bathing suit on it was not that of the bathing suit of the Eastman kid. Okay, because he left and he had a black swimming trunks on. So basically, it was horrible pictures. The face was all, people took this, they posted it around Facebook and all that stuff. Face was deteriorating and all that shit. They found him washed up, a body, period, which was not identified as Eastman. Okay. So you got these asinine YouTubers that, and they're so desperate. I mean, here's the thing. Don't come to the Philippines if you can't afford to live here, if you have to depend on your YouTube show to basically, kind of let you survive out here. That's not planning ahead, because you can't depend on anything out here. You certainly can't depend on your show making a lot of money, and even people get monetized. They're not getting that much money. Most people, they're not. Anyway, this big fat slob, no, not the other guy, but this other guy, he's posting a video and in the title, oh yeah, body of Eastman found washed up on, Well, I've seen the videos, and there was a body washed up, and they have not definitively said that it was actually Eastman. Okay. And that the swimming trunks were different too. People who depend on YouTube income shouldn't even be here. I mean, did you plan this out that I'm going to go here, become a big YouTuber? When I go to the Philippines, I'm going to make all this kinds of money. It's just generally not realistic. It's not realistic. It's just not realistic that you're going to be making all kinds of money every month. Very few channels actually make too much of a profit after Google, YouTube takes their share and so forth. Not many people make that much money. The few that do are rare. But one of the most common things that they do on YouTube is they do a lot of clickbait. Good morning, Merciful. And you see that, I don't care, a Tim K show, you see it on every show, Philly to Philippines, you see it, you name it. If they're a popular vlogger or something, they'll be talking about it. But unfortunately, they always give out the wrong information. There's been no positive identification on I keep on forgetting his name. Eastman's body. There hasn't been yes, a body did just wash up on the shores, and they just love this. All these Filipinos gathered around, they don't see death as we do. I don't know, it's just strange. They love this shit. Kids are gathering around, and the guy should have said, kids, you got to go over there. You can't see this. No. You just let them see. Well, maybe it's good to see the reality of life and death. I don't know. You raise your kids like you want to raise them, but, a bit bloated, the body, the face was kind of distorted, face down, washed up, no shirt, a pair of colored trunks. It wasn't black like Eastman's shorts that he wore last seen by his wife. So one of the things they do is clickbait. To get the viewers to come to their channel, and then they're left with nothing. A nothing burger. It's a nothing burger show. Why are people so desperate to get monetization? Look, okay, in all fairness, everybody could use extra money, right? Right? Yeah. I could, you could, anybody could. But how you go about it, that's a whole other thing too. Of course, the creation of drama. Oh, that's a way of doing it. Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about that guy. Drama. It's drama. Pardon me for a segundo here. Are they getting to that too already? Oh, God, are you kidding me? Never mind. Cannot believe this. I put a plate out there for my girlfriend to eat because she didn't have breakfast yet. We had a kind of an important person come to visit us here, and we had to pay our attention to that. She didn't get to eat her breakfast. So I kind of put this on the side and ready to answer, trying to attack this. My God. I don't know if there's more ants than YouTubers or more YouTubers than ants. I don't know. I don't know. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is, and forgive me for doing yet another show. Point being made is that why are people so dang desperate? Oh, I know what you're going to say. Frank's jealous because he's not monetized. I could care less. And I did not come out here in a desperate situation, and I'm not really living a desperate situation. I was monetized once. I didn't make shit money. I didn't think I ever would. I don't care if I have 1,000 subscribers or 100, which I got now. I'm still on and I still get to say what I want to say until I decide not to say anything. And the channel is done with. And please do me a favor. Please, absolutely. Do me a favor. Think I'm saying something wrong on here or something? Report me to YouTube. Do me that favor. Only this time I won't come back on. Okay. I came back on my own will. That's about it. Okay, merciful. The lower end of Philippine society is immune to these things. They see extreme daily. Seeing death is not a big deal. Even showing a dead body in a funeral is cultural porn. Yeah, you're not lying about that. That's actually the truth. What he's saying is actually the truth. They're kind of desensitized to blood and gore out here, whether it's a traffic accident or, a body found on a beach, whatever it might be. Oh yeah, the curiosity. I mean, you see what an accident. Clicking away, videotaping away. I got to show this on my channel. Like, it's so important, our society, to show something on your channel. Again, and I also see things that are very disturbing too, where people actually set up animals. I see this on Facebook feeds. Poor dogs, cats, whatever they might be. They put animals in a horrible position, as if to say that they just found this dog that way. He was all stuck in tar, or his paws were tied up in a riverbed, and they're the heroes. Yeah, they're the heroes. And you'll see this on one site called Dodo, D-O-D-O, I believe. And where they've actually set up these things. Why? Because they're louses of society. They're pieces of shit that actually harm an animal in order to create a video so they can get likes and subscribers and AdSense money. It makes me fucking sick. Makes me fucking sick. They actually set up this. Philippines does. I mean, you go down the line, they all use clickbait to get. In Philippines, Philly in the Philippines has done that many times. You go down the list, clickbait. Then you're listening to it. Okay, well, where's the story here? I mean, your title says this, but you're not talking about this. Even Philippines Antics likes to talk about this shit. Anything that's going to bring subscribers and views to their shows. Again, I'm going to say that if you can't afford to come and live here in the Philippines, don't come. What if there wasn't YouTube? Wasn't able to monetize your videos? What would you do? Would you stay in the Philippines, or would you make a decision not to come here? I think this is a pertinent topic, and I might as well. I don't care. It's another show, but I just got bit again. Okay, mosquitoes too. We're going to talk about them too. Why not? Ants, mosquitoes, dangerous frogs. Welcome to the Philippines, where survival. And let's talk about that too. Yes, the Philippines can be a very dangerous people, a dangerous place for the wrong people to be out here. When they run their mouth and do things to Filipinos out here, actually, to do things to them, you're a foreigner, and you think you can get away with that shit. It doesn't always work that way, as we can see. But don't, all this clickbait shit, you know. I am not exactly, um, although I've been on YouTube a long time, I'm not the biggest advocate of YouTube. I've done it because simply I'm a retiree, and the fact is, I do live on a very boring fucking island. I like it here, plan to stay, but it's boring. And the economy is not that great over here on this island. It's really not. They are dependent on tourism, like many places, and it's only when the tourists come in. Otherwise, they're scrapping by. They're just scrapping by. Now, of course, they will bring more tourists here, as that airplane is going to now pretty soon allow Manila people to come over here to this island, which they didn't offer before. And we never had any of this, really, you know. But even here, investments in anything local is a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. But the one thing is people getting offended by one another. Oh, that doesn't happen. No, that never happens. People getting offended. That's a good question. That you think is bigger than yourself. Hey, I can make maybe $100 a month, maybe 200 if I'm lucky. And if I'm really exceptional, I give out more drama and bullshit and create havoc in the community, I can make maybe 500 or 1,000, maybe 2,000. Oh yeah, that's kind of the way it works. And we see this all the time on YouTube. I'm just not afraid to talk about it. Because I am a veteran of being on YouTube. I've been on here a very long time. And sometimes it warrants being on YouTube for the lack of socialization out here, to tell you the truth. I don't particularly like to be around a lot of foreigners. That creates a little bit of a problem. I don't mind being around Filipinos. I don't care what their religion is, Catholic, Muslim, I don't care who they are. If they're good people, they're good people. Okay, I haven't been reading the comments here. Speaking of dogs, where did Brevis adopt his baby mama? I don't know. Some people said it was a bar. I have no idea. I can't answer that question. People talk. You go with whatever you want to believe. I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. Merciful says, Ricky Brevis is lost without you. You were a father figure to him. Yeah, I guess so. Drifting Cloud says, go home, Ricky. The alien abducted says, it's another Christmas coming up. Are you going to raise money again this year and pass it out to the poor? No, I am not. I am not. It's too dangerous. I did something really stupid. It was nice of me. I did many things that were actually good, but I think one of the stupidest things I did, I'm admitting this, was that when I was actually giving out money on a special occasion that was going on, helping some local people out. Now, that was a good gesture. There was nothing wrong with what I did. Show some compassion. It never hurts to show compassion to people that have less than you, and you live in that community. There's nothing wrong with that. However, what is wrong with that is they will think that you have a ton of money and your house could get robbed or whatever. Yeah, no, I will never do that again. I will work on an individualistic basis. If I know somebody real well and their kid maybe, had an accident or, had to go to hospital, didn't have any money to get the pharmacy drugs. I'll do something like that. But I'm not, no. I'll answer your question. Absolute no. No.
I agree, Frank. Not a good idea to hand out money. Makes you a target and stuff. Absolutely. I wasn't thinking. No, I wasn't. Didn't you keep the money raised last year to buy a TV and give Gilda's kids' school your old TV? No, the school got a brand new. What happened was we gave them, which we didn't have to do that at all. We gave them our used TV that we had because we had already bought ourselves a new TV. But then what happened was the TV that we gave to school kind of went dark on a screen on one side, and that was kind of embarrassing because I thought I was doing something good, and I was, but there was no guarantee how long the TV was going to last. So what I did was we did go out to uh, what's that place name in Bantayan? Dyak. I forgot the name. We went there and we bought a 50-inch TV, brand new, paid in cash, and what they did was they took the old TV, which they were able to use for something else. Another teacher took it for another purpose, because it was still kind of useful, but it didn't go to waste. No, we did brought a brand new TV for them. Yeah, brand new TV. That was true. We actually did that. Okay, so uh, keep the money raised last year though to buy. There was no money that was raised to buy a TV. First of all, you got that Mr. Alien Abducted. You got that wrong. There was no fundraiser for a TV for the kids at school. Not at all. No, there wasn't. You might be confusing it with something else, but no. Oh, I did a dog food fundraiser. I did that. The dogs didn't even know what the fuck it was. And that's the truth. They didn't even know because they grew up on eating rice like anybody else out here, and throwaways like chicken bones and whatever. That's what a lot of people feed the dogs out here. When they're a puppy, to them, just like any child out here, when they're growing up, they eat rice. They know that's something they eat, and everybody eats. Rice is gold. It's life out here. I've had that experience with some friends' kids when I took them out for pizza, and maybe it's the first time they ever had it. I mean, they chose the rice over the pizza and other stuff. It was amazing to see that. The culture, right there. That was a little culture shock for me, right there. A learning experience. But no, there was no fundraiser for the TV. We got that mixed up with something else. No, there wasn't. No. We did it out of our hearts. There was nothing in it for us. Nothing at all. A thank you was all that was appreciated. And the children thanked us. The teacher thanked us. And that was all we needed. So that's kind of the long version of your answer on that. Okay, and he wants to ask another question about. Remember, you asked for donations to give 25 families 1,000 pesos each, and then kept it. Kept what? What do you mean I kept it? No, I just made a decision at that time that I would do some individualistic things like I did. And that was a preempting the actual TV. What I did was, and actually they're related, instead of just handing out money, which I thought was a bad idea, like I just quoted, I thought, let me gear this to one thing that could benefit a lot of kids, is to give a TV, when their TV broke down, their original TV, that was the replacement. It was 25,000 pesos. So that answers your question on that. 25 families, 1,000 pesos. So 25 times 1,000 is 25,000. Yeah, I remember. I'm telling you right now. That's 25,000 pesos I did give to the community. So, okay. I know you're trying to find fault with me, but there's no fault in what I did. Okay, did I answer your question? Okay. Anyway, yeah, as I go through YouTube channels, I'm seeing more and more about Elliot Eastman. I guess that's his full name, Elliot Eastman. And the bullshit that I'm hearing is phenomenal. And people are making up their own stories. Okay, enough of you. I kept the donations after asking for the donations. You bought a TV with it. I did not ask for donations for a TV. I already had money that I was actually going to give out, 25, crisp 1,000 note bills. Then I decided that that wasn't a good idea. I'm going to repeat myself for the last time. I decided to just use that money and direct it in one direction to buy something that's going to help a bunch of children at school and would help the teachers teach the children with this tool as their TV broke down, their original TV. That's the last I'm going to mention it, and you're out of here. For good reason, you're out of here. Because I already explained to you, and that's as far as I'm going to go. At least I have the capacity of giving, and I don't think many people on here do. Quite frankly, I just don't see it. I've never seen much of it, really. And who was scamming money off who when the disasters came and hurricanes and whatnot? How much money did they put in their pockets? And we could name a number of people who've done that on here. But we'll leave the names out, and you can figure out who they are on your own if you watch YouTube that much and you know everything. How much pocketed money? Look at Ricky. I'll put his name in there. How much did he collect on Barry? Well, Barry's right about one thing. I don't agree with Barry on anything. That the money that was raised by Ricky was quite a bit of money. And Barry got a measly 15,000 pesos out of it. Now, I'm not looking for fairness to Barry or anything. I'm just saying as a fact. As a fact. This was a fundraiser that was supposed to be helping Barry out, was it not? And he winds up with 15,000 pesos out of like 200 something thousand or something. Is that the figure? How fair was it to Barry? Not that I give a shit, but how fair was it to him? Really? And people were pocketing money. They were trying to find, hey, let's do a fundraiser for this, for that, for this, for that, or a hurricane disaster. How much are being pocketed? People are not going to know because you're not going to show a spreadsheet to them how much you collected. You're going to say, hey, I collected 5,000 pesos when you probably collected 400,000. And maybe you showed people on camera how generous you are, and you bought maybe a shitload of food for one family or something to help out. But what did you do with the rest of the money? That's the question. What did you do with the rest of the money? It went in their fucking pocket. That's where it went. There's a lot of that going on here. And some people that you might think are very respectable vloggers have done it, I'm sure. Okay? If you want to go back to Mike Kaysen, a lot of people had their own thoughts about the 30,000 plus that he collected in donations and where it went. Some people say he bought a new car with it. There was all kinds of things. People were speculating up and down what happened with Mike Kaysen. Okay, so I don't know the real story, and I'm not going to pretend I do. Did Mike Kaysen pocket a lot of his money? Because they were upset at him because they figured he could get his heart operation done in America. He's got the Medicare, and I understand where people are coming from on that. I actually do. But he made a choice to stay with his girlfriend in his comfortable abode and handle it locally and get the best treatment he could possibly get. But unfortunately, he had another attack or whatever, and he passed away. And what he does with the money is his own business, but if somebody really is scamming money, you can't feel sorry for him. No. Did he scam money off people? I can't tell you that. I'm not going to say that on my show because I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever you want to believe in. If you want to find the bad in somebody, you'll find the bad in somebody when there is no bad. Try finding the good in people as maybe a better experience for yourself. Don't look for the bad in YouTubers. Look for the good. If you could find any good. Okay. Old Dog is notorious for putting sad sacks on multiple times for the views. Exploitation at its best. Well, I will agree with you on that. I will. He's a car salesman, man. What do you expect from him? You expect any different? No. No, he's very informative. I'll give him that. And he formats his show in a very professional way that only a car salesman could do. I'm very observant of his mannerism and how he promotes his show through his girlfriend and putting some sad sack people on his show that draws interest, but we could also call it a human interest show, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Perhaps he is performing something that's very beneficial for people to bring people on and show how they live. You know, to me, I'd call it street reportage in photography. Reportage, reportage, where you go around and you're documenting things that are going around, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's how he goes about it is the difference, I think, on there. You know, putting his girlfriend on in a bikini. Um, I don't know if he feeds her or not. I don't know. She's awfully thin, but maybe that's her normal physique. I have nothing really bad to say about his girlfriend. It's more on him that, he's exploiting her. I could say that because that's exactly what's going on. I think there's a bit of exploitation going on in his channel in a big way. But there's nothing new about that. There's a lot of people who exploit their girlfriends on here. They're not always the best lookers either to exploit. Not all of them. You might find a couple of good lookers here and there, and I haven't seen too many of that. But, that I can remember anyway. No, I really can't. But this is it's called clickbait. Tell a bullshit story so you can get people to come to your show, and then you listen to it and say, okay, well, your title said this and said that, but I'm not hearing your story about that. Or they'll keep it to the end of the show. They're very good at what they do. Oh, they are. If they are going to mention the actual topic matter, and they do that on TV too. They do that on radio a lot. Now a word from our sponsor. And the show's supposed to be about something, but they don't get to the meat and gravy of what the topic matter is until mid-show or the end of the show. I've seen this happen on a lot of radio shows. Coast to Coast did this a lot. Um, they had more commercials than they had material on there. That's what kind of forced me to not listen to Coast anymore. Great subjects, great topic matter, but I love the paranormal. I love everything they talked about. And I used to listen to it before I went to bed every night. But then they'd have this long ass commercials on. Okay, then it seems like they came back from a commercial break. So he'll come on and start talking again. Art Bell and his, it was back to Art Bell, certainly. And you think, okay, he's back for the commercial. Fantastic. I could listen to the rest of the show. No. He comes on and says something, keeps you hanging. It goes back to another 5 minutes or 10 minutes of commercials. So I got off from watching that, As I got off from watching certain, even some popular people's shows on here where they use clickbait as a tool to get people like you and me interested in what they have to say. If I put a title on my show, that's what the show is going to be about. Yeah. George Noory. So what's going on with him? Is he still doing it? I have not listened to that show in ages. Is he retired? Is he still doing it? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, George Noory, very good. A very good replacement for Art Bell. But there's nobody like Art Bell. But, Noory did a great job. Is he still on? Is he still doing this? As I said, I have not been watching or listening to that radio show. I mean, not from here, but maybe, way to do it on the phone here. But I don't think anything will be current. There might be older shows I could find or something on there. But yeah, I used to religiously listen to that show back in Hawaii. Every night. Until, again, the commercials started longer and longer. It was good for the show because they had more sponsors, understandably. But the commercials really took the wind out of my sails for continuing to listen to Coast to Coast. Yeah. Then he had some really ridiculous guests on there, too. And I kind of lost faith in the show because he had some real idiots on there that were totally unbelievable in the stories they told. Unprovable stories. Out of the world stories that would make even the biggest skeptic, even be more skeptic, Some of the stuff on there was a lot of crap, but there was a lot of good guests on there, scientists and otherwise. where you don't hear it in the mainstream media, a lot of these stories, whether it's about unidentified flying objects, extraterrestrials and all that, paranormal, everything. It's really interesting to listen to. It's always interesting to listen to somebody else's side of a story. That's what's great about it. That's why radio is great. Radio is great because your attention goes to their voice and what they have to talk about. But then again, it gets all screwed up when a commercial comes on. Then you lose train of thought and maybe lose interest in watching the rest of it. But they have to make money. And that's how he gets his salary. And how the radio station makes their money. Howard Stern, too. My God. Howard Stern was one of the better ones. That guy's he's a billionaire. Why is he a billionaire? Because he came on radio and he said what he believed. He showed his true self and what he believed in. He did not let anybody influence him at all. That's kind of like me. I'll never be a Howard Stern, but I admire him for the guts he has, the balls he has to go against major radio stations and say, fuck you. You're telling me not to talk about this? Or you want to turn my show into country music? That happened to him one time early in his career. He had a way of dealing with people that was incredible. Did you listen to the great Gildersleeve's radio show? No. Was there something called Gildersleeve Radio Show? Or is that a joke? No, I didn't. I listened to a little bit of My Prairie Home. Now that was good radio. That was good radio. I didn't really get too involved in it. I've listened to a number of episodes. That was good radio. That was good radio. It's hard to replace things like that. It really got you involved in believing you were like almost you were living in this small town and what small town life was all about. But you know something? YouTubers have that creativity too. They can do that on their show. I tried to do it in so many ways on my show until I get attacked or something, but I've tried to kind of copy that concept on, the reality, what it's like actually living simply through my eyes and my experience of living out here in the Philippines. Tried to do the best I could. I probably could do a better job if I was really gung-ho about making a future of this. But I think I'm way beyond the ability to do that on my show because I'm being attacked all the time. It's not worth it. And it's not that I'm looking for money out of this show. I didn't come on for the money, that's for damn sure. When I came on, all I ever did was uploads. Even at that time, I had the capacity to do lives at one point. And I never did for a long, long time, actually. It was a comedy like Jack Benny and George Burns. Yeah. People loved, that's when family was family. They weren't on no fucking cell phones like we are. They gathered around as a family in the living room. Their soft drinks, popcorn, snacks, whatever they had. And as a family, they sat down as a family. They related to each other. All their attention was on that wooden box that had a speaker on it. And just like we would depend on watching TV shows on Netflix or YouTube or whatever, these people used to gather around the radio. That was their entertainment. And it was not always a show that was on every single day. It could have been weekly. They had to, prepare these scripts. A lot of it, was done live. And all reading from a script. But some of the stories were so damn interesting. And that's why I like the TV show Little House on the Prairie. Who could not like Little House on the Prairie? It really showed life back in those days and how people lived when they lived out on the prairie and how tough life was to feed their children and survive animal attacks, even perhaps Indian starvation when they couldn't get enough meat to store for the winter, salt it and store it. Or all they could eat, if they were lucky, they had bread. Too much of us are spoiled, and we just don't appreciate how good we got it. if you want to listen to these stories and like Little House on the Prairie and all these stories that you hear that are very real life, they're not made up, not always scripted. I mean, they're real stories. Some of them are, fiction, but they're still interesting to listen to because it still depicts of what life was like, even though it was a fictional story on the radio of a fictional town. It really got people to listen. It brought you to that little town on, the prairie or wherever it might have been, and it showed or talked about how people are actually living. You weren't born in those days. None of us were. Although a lot of that still goes on today, that people are living like that. Yeah, say hello to Popeye. Only the shadow knows. So I don't think people appreciate what they got. I really don't think they do. I honestly do not. We as a species, we're too spoiled. But watch what happens when our natural resources get swept away. What are you going to do? You're going to eat your neighbor? Probably. I wouldn't put it past you. Now, you might say I could never get down to do something like that, but that's bullshit. Look what happened in the Andes. The plane crashed back in when was it? I don't know what the date was. They were forced to eat flesh from the dead bodies for survival. They wanted to get back to their loved ones, but they had to live with this because, we have as humans, supposed to have a conscience, okay? That, and whether it's related to religion or whatever it might be related to, that we just don't cannibalize each other. But cannibalism goes back thousands of years. It's nothing new. But we are saying we know it's just, it's a sin to eat human meat. But there's still people to this day that are probably eating human meat. Some old tribes. They even say that some parts of the Philippines are still doing that. Yeah. When was the last time I see a kid? I see a lot of kids riding bicycles here. I see a lot of them. I see them all the time. All the time. They're even riding motorcycles. They're lucky enough to have a family who can afford it. My girlfriend's kids, one of them rides a bike to school. He brings his brother with him who hasn't learned how to ride yet to school. And his brother comes back on a trike. They would rather watch a kid ride a bicycle on YouTube. Well, we don't got all the cleanest material on YouTube on here coming from vloggers. And people like to sensationalize just about everything on YouTube. And I guess it's a reflection of the life that they're actually living. Like, Popeye simulcasting my show now or copying it, whatever he's doing. I could go there right now and I can almost guarantee you that he's simulcasting my show. That wouldn't surprise me. It's people like him that I don't know if you could really feel sorry for somebody like him. I don't know. What's the right emotion for Popeye? It's painfully obvious that he's not living a very lively life. It's painfully obvious that he has more time on his hands than many people out here do, inclusive of me. I'm retired and so forth. I don't live on the most exciting island, and I don't. But it's my choice to be here. I want more excitement, whatever. I go somewhere, go to Cebu, whatever. Go out and eat in nice places. Go to the mall. Enjoy the ambiance of the mall and the air conditioning and the different stores that you can get supplies in that you can't find on the islands. It's a pleasure. It's not always a business trip. It's a pleasure trip. I enjoy going to Cebu, but for a set amount of time. Then I'm more than happy to be on my way home. After I take care of the business I need to take care of, and after I buy what I need to buy, food supplies, whatever it might be, clothing, I'm more than happy to go home. To my little prairie home here on the island. I'm more than happy to be here. More than you know. This is my zone. This is my, what's the word I'll use? My sanctuary. but I guess it's as far as it's not kind of like drifting off the topic too much here and getting back to what I started to say, ADDH, right? Okay, there you go. A lot of that on YouTube. The clickbait, the bullshit talk about an incident and how they build it up to be something that it's not. Whether these are YouTubers talking about each other or whether it's a real life incident. With example, which is the best recent example of the guy, 26-year-old, that they believe is abducted, and whether or not he's alive or not, whether that body that washed up is his, is not, they have not. First of all, the crime scene was already contaminated because these Filipino guys tried to drag his body in a little bit over onto the stone edge and went back in the water again, but the scene was already compromised. The scene was compromised. I don't know. I don't get into that blood and gore shit. You know, out of human curiosity, I may look, then I'll kind of like regret it later, you know? But I do think a lot of Filipinos are desensitized to blood and gore out here. Dead bodies being shot from gangs or police or whatever happened. Drug deals gone bad. I don't think if you're living in an inner city, I don't think there's one person who has not seen or been by a crime scene or seen somebody get killed or know of somebody that got killed, whether it was over drugs, over it was a crime of passion, whatever it was. I think everybody's experienced it was an accident, which a lot of them happened, mostly on motorcycles. That's why I don't drive a motorcycle. Tell you right up front, I don't. Had an opportunity to buy one. In fact, we did get one to try out and just see if it's something that and I said, nah, it's not for me. The more I heard of motorcycle accidents and I seen how people drive out here, it's not for me. I've gotten a little older. I don't think I need to be behind a steering wheel. Because God forbid something did happen to me and I had a heart attack or something. How many people am I going to mow down? How about my family in a car that I could get killed? That's the way my mind thinks. I think of other people. I don't just think about myself. Which I think a lot of people on YouTube don't give a shit about anybody either way. You know, it's my way or the highway is the basic attitude on YouTube. So don't even do these shows, give them even the views. When they come out with clickbait, just unsubscribe. There's a lot of shows to listen to that's worthwhile. Fuck the clickbait. And I'm going to say it again. If your monetary needs are that bad that you have to depend, there's a big difference, instead of supplementing your income, but depending on your income by going on YouTube and monetizing your channel, that you are actually dependent on your survival. And we know somebody who is, and we know numerous people that is dependent on that. Then you should have never came here in the first place. That's my thought on this. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. That'll be it for the rest of the day. Thank you very much for being there.